It isn't often that I do this, but I decided to combine two reviews of The Boys into one because I realized looking through my channel catalog and stuff that I had forgot to actually go ahead and review the second episode of season 3. So we're gonna get through both. We're gonna start with the second episode. We're gonna go kind of quickly. It's not gonna be that much longer than just one episode review because I'm kind of gonna recap each episode quickly. Try to be as quick as possible. Just kind of summarize what happened as much as I can. Let me pull up my shit here. Sorry. The problem with going live is that you guys kind of have to wait for me to do anything. The Only Man in the Sky, episode 2 of the season. Butcher is conflicted on whether to take the temporary compound V or not, and if you're on episode 3, you know that he eventually does. He's stuck in an impossible position. Butcher is going through a lot of conflict. Heads off to see Mother's Milk. Hands off a peace offering. They need to find the weapon that helped kill Soldier Boy, which is hilarious that they named him that. MM's father was obsessed with finding the weapon. Mother's Milk was not prepared to do the same thing and jeopardize his family. A family spent the last year piecing back together again. As a conclusion prize, though, MM does hand over an important file that could help. So pretty much what I'm going to do is just read this article from the Review Geek and Greg Wheeler. All along, they've kind of given us an article. I'm just going to read through it, not really discuss anything about it. Huey takes what he's learned to Annie, bringing up Nadia, or Newman, being a soup. They've done some research on Red River, but for now, all of that is on hold for Homelander's birthday. Annie needs to go for a sound check for the big celebrations, only that sound check turns into Homelander making changes to the script and forcing Annie to sing happy birthday to him. Stan Edgar interjects, though, and directs traffic, deciding Starlight doesn't have to demean herself after all given. She's the one with the higher popularity levels. Homelander is understandably livid. Homelander has been, pissed off with how the Seven is handling things. Huey twiddles his thumbs at home before eventually showing up at Red River. This happens to be a school for soups. Huey tries to make up a story about how they're going to adopt a soup child, and surprisingly, it works. Huey's infiltration skills have come a long way since fumbling with bugs in Season 1. He finds Nadia on the system, and in turn, details surrounding Stan Edgar showing up to adopt her. Frenchie and Kimiko head off to find Crimson Countess. She's doing shows like a Red Elsa performing Frozen, but the real ice is behind the scenes. In her dressing room, she's snorting drugs. So yeah, Frenchie and Kimiko showed up and immediately begin asking questions, which causes her to grow spooked and bolt. She obliterates the mascot outside, and Kimiko is shocked when she notices a boy and girl sitting together, holding in fear. Yeah, I didn't know the mascot was like a real person at first. I thought it was like a statue, but it was a real person because blood went everywhere. This, of course, brings back memories of her own sibling relationships with Kimiko, of kind of getting some PTSD, kind of getting some reminders of what her childhood was like. While that meeting goes completely awry, Butcher arrives to see Gunpowder at his rifle expo with similar results. Butcher attempts to bargain, coming armed with a complaint letter that Gunpowder filed at Vought about Soldier Boy's abuse, so they're trying to cancel Soldier Boy. After prodding the hornet's nest, those angry yellow hornets come out to play in the parking lot. Gunpowder attacks Butcher as a tense shootout between the two ensues. It's nail-biting, but Butcher does eventually manage to get away. Homelander's birthday goes from bad to worse. Breaking news sees Stormfront commit suicide by biting off her own tongue. And when you bite off your own tongue, you bleed out. There's so much blood in your tongue, you don't even understand. Which overshadows the celebrations, of course. Off the back of this, Homelander forces a suicidal woman to jump off the roof. Homelander's so fucked, man. And I love it. He's the perfect villain. Huey shows up at work, but he's immediately face to face with Newman. Starlight saves him from an awkward predicament as Huey bemoans his situation. He feels like a failure and blames himself for not seeing the truth about Newman sooner. MM speaks to Monique about his situation, admitting that he's starting to lose control. She believes he should go back to Butcher and confront this black cloud of Soldier Boy head on. That way he can gain some much needed closure. At the same time, Huey speaks to Butcher and tells him that Newman is the head-popping soup. So as a result, they need to do things his way this time. Butcher takes the temp compound V, confronts Gunpowder once more, and this time finds out the truth. Soldier Boy used to haze him, slapping around, and that time things went a bit too far. They were on a mission in Nicaragua when Soldier Boy went missing. He also confirms that they were working with the CIA, and in particular Grace Mallory. Alas, the plot thickens. Using his newfound strength, Butcher burns the gunpowder using his laser eyes. With gunpowder dead, attention instead turns back to Homelander's birthday celebrations. A-Train debuts his brand new costume, and a heckler in the crowd points out that Homelander is a Nazi sympathizer. He snaps. Homelander goes completely off script, giving a passionate speech about how he's much better. He's better than everyone else, and how those in power are controlling everyone. So it's a very iconic speech in the series. I'm the real hero, he says eventually, as the crowd are left stunned. It's a crazy speech. It's kind of a chilling speech in the show. But yeah, the episode review. The second episode of The Boys Season 3 sees a fair amount of progression for our characters. MM's character development has been really solid, and the fact that he's intertwined into this whole Soldier Boy situation gives him real stakes for coming back into the team. Likewise, all the other characters have a lot more depth now, especially learning about Red River and Newman's history. So Nadia kind of has like a villain origin story, which they did really well here. Not only that, but understanding her ties to Stan Edgar now makes a lot more sense. It's particularly intriguing to see how this will develop going forward and whether it'll tie in with Homelander in the end. Speaking of which, Homelander is completely snapped now, and I can't help but feel this may actually see the people rally by his side. Bearing in mind at the time of writing, I haven't seen the future episodes. These recaps are written in the moment. Shout out to Greg Wheeler. We're now seeing the real Homelander, and although I loathe to compare this to real politics, there are stark similarities to politicians voicing their real opinions, no matter how racist, controversial, shocking, or outright diabolical it may be. So yeah, there's definitely some social commentary about like politics here on this show, and I think that's really good to note there. However, all of this combines to deliver a delightfully delicious follow-up episode, and thankfully we don't have to wait too long to find out what happens next. Episode 3, baby. Let's get going. Season 3, Episode 3, Barbary Coast. I watched this episode last night, and again, I'm not really going to focus on the little details. I'm probably just going to read the plot. Episode 3 of The Boys, Season 3, starts 17 years back with Annie doing her pageant shows, and in the end, this kind of comes full circle, and I really like how they did this episode. She smiles through the pain and tries to keep doing what her mom wants, and all along, everything she's done, even joining the 7, is because her mom desired it. Behind her back, though, she digs her nails painfully into her palm. It's kind of funny. She has like her fist held behind her back, and I can't help but laugh at it. I don't know why it's so funny. Keep this little tick in mind. It sandwiches the entire episode together in a beautifully harmonious way, like I said. It all comes full circle in the end. Anyway, this brings us back to the present as Homelander learns that he's shot up with the public by 21 points. After his speech, they loved his speech, and now he's not afraid to be himself unapologetically. He's on a rating of 98% too, which is higher than anyone else has ever achieved. Even higher than Soldier Boy, who has been a subject of this season for a while now. Meanwhile, the boys join together once more as Butcher roasts Huey over Newman. However, Huey is worried about Ryan, but apparently he's run off with the Colonel. So, yeah, Ryan, Butcher's son now. So naturally, Butcher is going to track him down. I guess Ryan is Homelander's son, but Butcher's the Guardian. Huey wants to join Butcher, and the only way to confirm that is for Huey to have his arm broken so he can phone in sick with Newman for real. So Kimiko literally breaks his forearm in half. It is, oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's gross. Anyway, in the wake of all this carnage, Frenchie can't go, given he has a prior engagement. So off the rest of the boys go, catching up with the Colonel and filling her in on what's happening. Butcher speaks to Mallory and demands to know what happened in Nicaragua that, like, made Soldier Boy, or made, what's his name, hate Soldier Boy. Apparently this was all part of Operation Charlie, Reagan's pet project off the books, and Mallory was like a part of this. They were like shooting a movie. It was kind of a cool scene, kind of a cool flashback they did in the show. In exchange for smuggling coke into the U.S., they used the profits to buy more guns to take out Russia. All of this tied into selling the coke to minority neighborhoods, contributing to the issues facing them today. So kind of like another commentary on like the crack epidemic of people in like the ghetto parts of like big cities like Chicago, New York, like selling crack, using crack out of desperation. Unfortunately, Soups were thrown into the battle zone, with Grace admitting that each were more ridiculous than the last. Grace is not happy about this develop, but a young Stan informs her that these guys are on a trial run for Soups in the military to fight back against the communists. And if you want a backstory on how Black Noir's face got burnt the fuck up, and why he wears a mask 24/7 now, you're going to get it in a second. However, the Soup's recklessness brings the enemies right to their gate, with Russian special forces raining down on them. I mean, you know Russia, you know their army, you know how vicious they can be. It's a bloodbath, and even Black Noir, who happens to be part of the group, is a bloody, broken mess as a result. Crimson Countess shows and claims Soldier Boy was killed and that his body was taken away in a helicopter. Vought were granted full immunity off the back of this, while she lost 116 men. This also explains why she wants to get back at Vought. Elsewhere, A-Train catches up with his brother, who offers him the chance to head back to the crib and do away with the Seven. So maybe A-Train's going to get more of an opportunity to be with his family for the rest of his life instead of having to live this crazy lifestyle that is a Soup. Given his prior heart problems, A-Train can't use his super speed anymore and admits that this is akin to playing Russian roulette. Over with the Vought HQ, Starlight and Homelander clash verbally about the direction of the Seven. They don't actually get into some fistfights or anything. He wants to put the Deep back in the group as a surprise twist to the reality TV gig. And that's a cool marketing strategy, but it might not be for the best of the Deep, or for the best of the Seven, given Starlight's experiences with the Deep. When Starlight brings up the video from the flight again, Homelander bites back. Oh my god, Homelander is like a really lovable character in this episode as a villain. I love it. In fact, he promises to completely destroy America from the inside out as she releases it. Because honestly, really nobody can kill him. There's very few people in this world that could probably kill this guy. Including wiping New York off the map. So, Starlight wants to run for the hills, but Huey encourages her to stick it out, given they're trying to find a weapon to kill Homelander. So she's going to have to play it cool. She's going to have to put a smile on her face. For now, she needs to strap in and grin and bear the abuse. She needs to get through it until they find a way to kill Homelander. Which is probably... I think the show's going to end very soon, given that they're trying to kill Homelander. If he dies, the series is damn near over. Back with Mallory and the boys, Butcher decides to leave, but Ryan tries to stop him. Butcher loses control, telling him he doesn't want to look at the child after killing Becca. I hate you, Ryan bitterly rasped, running back in the house. I mean, Ryan did kill Becca. There's a point there. Over at Vought HQ, the Deep is back in the big leagues that he's forced to eat his pest octopus, Timothy. Given the Deep can hear the poor cephalopod begging for his life, it's a really difficult and uncomfortable scene to watch, giving his sympathy towards sea critters. He is, honestly, he's pretty much one of them himself. Honestly, I was eating if you were eating while this episode was going on and while you were watching it, I feel bad for you. If you eat seafood while you're watching it, good luck to you. In the wake of this madness, Supersonic decides to join the Seven, but he's mostly doing this out of loyalty for Starlight, telling her that someone needs to have her back, and that's really nice of Supersonic. While all of this is going on, an old Russian by the name of Nina gives Frenchie a proposition. When Butcher finds out, he sees this as a golden opportunity to get closer to the Russians and finding the weapon that killed Soldier Boy. He's all in, even if it means putting Frenchie in a difficult position. As the episode closes out, the big American hero finale comes to a close, and Homelander improvises, claiming that he and Starlight are in love. Homelander forces Starlight to play ball, grabbing her and kissing her on the camera. Starlight is shocked and digs her nails into her palm as a result. Same thing she did as a kid, so that's how it kind of comes to a close. The Boys returns with its third episode this time, and a harsh reminder of how Homelander is still calling the shots. The opening with the pageant is a great way of framing Starlight in this uncomfortable light, and how she's always had to grin and force her way through uncomfortable situations. Very true. This works so well for her character, and that of course extends out to the other players as well. That scene with the Deep eating octopus was honestly one of the toughest to watch this season, and actually worse than Termite's Inside Out destruction. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Away from the squeamish, another memorable scene comes from Kimiko and Ryan's chat outside, bonding over neither of them really wanting their powers. This is a really nice inclusion, and although there's barely any dialogue, it actually frames both of these gentle souls in a really believable light. Android 16 from like Dragon Ball Z, the main robot, a few words with a big heart all the same. It's kind of like that. With the gloves off and Homelander flying completely off the handle, if anyone's guessed where this one is likely to, it's anyone's guess where this one is likely to go next. Regardless, the season is shaping up to be just as mental as the previous two. Next episode we are watching tonight, so I'm out. Have a good rest of your day. We got to do a review for The Golden Child, and then I'm done for those videos for the day. Then I'm going to go play some Far Cry for 2 hours, because I forgot